What's going on, everyone? I am back here with another video, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a look at the iOS 10 Beta 1, which was just released yesterday following Apple's WWDC 2016 keynote. So I've got iOS 10 Beta 1 installed on an iPod Touch 6th generation that we see here. So that's what I'm going to be giving you guys the review on. So iOS 10 does include many new features. So in this particular video, I'm going to be highlighting, or basically going over, some of the most notable features that basically Apple announced at the keynote. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first one, now this one doesn't actually work on the iPod Touch. This one only works, I believe, with the iPhone 6S and the iPhone 6, I believe. But that is something called Raise to Wake, and it is essentially a gesture which, when you go to pick up your phone, it will wake up the display, so you don't have to push the home button to view your notifications. So basically, this is Apple's solution to the complaints that people had with Touch ID on the iPhone 6S being too fast. So instead of pushing the home button, you just pick up your device, and it will wake the display up, and you can see your notifications. So nice there. But the kind of one issue with that is it can be sensitive at times, so it is a little bit finicky. It might wake up the display when it's in your pocket or something like that. Hopefully Apple will get that bug worked out. And this is just beta 1, so we'll have to see. Anyway, moving on. There is no longer a slide to unlock on the lock screen. Instead, if I press the button here, as you can see, we no longer have slide to unlock. So if we go and try to do that, it says press home button to open. So basically, Apple has removed slide to unlock, and you now have to press the home button to unlock your device. So if I press the home button again, as you can see, that unlocked the device. So it's kind of interesting. It's quite amazing that Apple has gone away with the iconic slide to unlock that was basically in iOS since the very first version of iOS back in 2007. So that is very interesting and amazing to me that Apple has removed that. But that may be added back at some point in a later beta. We never know. That might just be a temporary thing. Next up, while on the lock screen, this also corresponds to the home screen as well, but you now have access to your widgets, which the widgets are no longer in the notification center. So real quick, if you drop down notification centers, you can see there's no more widgets within the notification center. So to access widgets, you can do this from, like I said, both the lock screen or the home screen. But basically, you slide to the right from the left side, and then you see your today view basically, and you can see all of your widgets that you have installed on your phone or iPod in this case. So you can scroll through all of your widgets that you have installed. You can see you can show less and show more. You can get more info on that. Quite cool. It works for many different widgets, so you can do Siri suggestions. You can get more info there. So it's pretty cool, and then you can easily swipe back, and then you're back to the lock screen. Another gesture from the lock screen is the ability to access the camera. So the camera, you no longer swipe up like we did in iOS 9, so now you just swipe to the left, and as you can see, we are now accessing the camera. So it's just a different gesture to use. Actually, for me, I personally like it better. The sliding up gesture in iOS 9 was kind of clunky, and really for me didn't work all that well. So the swiping to the left gesture should work quite well. Now, and then the way to get back to the lock screen is you just press the home button, and there you go, you're back to the lock screen. So pretty cool. So let's go ahead and unlock the device now. Okay, had a little bit of glitch there. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and move on. Now we have new rich notifications. Basically, when you receive a notification, there will be much more info within that notification. So when you get a little banner notification drop down, it will be much more detailed and you'll be able to see more info on it. Same thing corresponds to the lock screen as well as notification center. So if we go into the notification center, we can see we have a completely redesigned look of notifications first and foremost. So you can see they're kind of little white bubbles now. But you can see more info with them. You have messages on top, what app it came from. As you can see here, you have the time, whoever sent the messages. In this case, it is an iMessage. But this will correspond for other applications as well as third-party apps and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And it works just the same. You just slide it like you did in iOS 9. You can reply or clear. And then you can click the little X, of course, to remove remove those notifications from that particular thread. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and slide up now. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention is you can now search the notification center. So you can click a search bar, and you can search within that and find the notification, anything else you would like. So it's quite interesting. Okay. Another thing with Notification Center, you do have a redesigned look of notifications on the banner. So if I can try to send myself a text message here, let's go ahead and say test, send. Okay, well, that didn't work out as planned. I'll have to do it again, but now we get to see the lock screen notifications. So here's what the lock screen notifications look like. They appear as that little white bubble. Just like in the notification center. You can still act upon them like usual. You can either slide to the left to reply or clear, or you can slide all the way to the right and it'll take you directly to the message application, just like normal. But let's go ahead and send another message and then click out. Okay, so there you go. Now you can see the new banner notifications. It's completely redesigned with that new little bubble look. So let's go ahead and send one more. Alright, so and it still works the same, so you can drop down like so, and you can immediately reply to that particular notification or act upon it, depending on whatever app it came from. So it's really, really interesting and quite nice to use, but nothing really different from iOS 9. Now, one thing is if you happen to have an iPhone 6s with 3D touch support, iOS 10 has a bunch of new options for 3D touch. So when you have a message, say from the notification center, let's go ahead and get another one out here. Okay, so let's get out of that. Okay, so if you go back in the notification center, if you happen to have an iPhone with 3D touch support, you can press or force press on the notification, and it'll bring up kind of like a little text message view. They can instantly reply and receive texts and other things through that message thread. So you don't actually have to go to the messages application to basically continue and follow a conversation. So it's really, really cool. That also works from the lock screen as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and get out of here. All right, next up, we have an ability to clear all notifications from the notification center with a force press with 3D touch support. Now, see, this is the bummer thing about this feature, is the fact that you have to have an iPhone such as the iPhone 6s with 3D touch to be able to do this. But if you have that, you can be able to remove all of the notifications within the notification center all at once. So you basically just force press on the little X at the top right corner of the screen, and it would remove all of the notifications within the notification center. So that's something that has been quite needed quite a while. But still, unfortunately, you can't do that with any other iOS device other than 3D touch, so it's kind of unfortunate. And another thing involving clearing all is the fact that Apple has still not added the ability to remove all apps running in the background. So you still have to go through and clear off every single app one by one. I don't understand Apple's reason for doing that, but I don't know. Hopefully that gets added in a upcoming beta. So cross your fingers, but I'm not too hopeful because they haven't done it in the past, so oh well. Anyway, moving on, there is a completely redesigned control center. So if we slide up, you can see Control Center has been completely redesigned. It's basically the same. You have the same functions, but it's the look of it is different. So we can see the little toggles at the top here are the same, but they now get highlighted in blue instead of white. You still have your brightness toggle or slider. You have a new layout of AirDrop and the AirPlay mirroring. And then you have a big giant button for night shift, which is kind of interesting. So you have a gigantic button for that. And then you have the standard 4 buttons at the bottom as well. And then music controls has been moved, so it's no longer on this page. So now Control Center is now scrollable, so you can swipe to the left, and you can see now you have a dedicated music control tab within the Control Center. So it's kind of bigger. You get bigger music controls, a bigger music slider. You get your title of the song up top. Then you can click this little arrow here, and it can choose what device or the music playback source that you want it to come from. So if you have a Bluetooth headset plugged in, you can decide where you want the audio to be outputted to. So, and then of course you slide back, and then you're back into the normal Control Center view as well. Now, the one thing I wish that Apple would have done is give you a little more detail. So, like underneath Wi-Fi, they can give you like what Wi-Fi network you're connected to, and then Bluetooth, what device you're connected to, so on and so forth. But they haven't done that, so hopefully they will do that in a later beta build. We'll just have to see. But anyway, that's Control Center. I'm liking the new design. It's quite intuitive. Next up, Smarter QuickType. So when you're typing on a keyboard, let's not use that. Let's go into the Notes application. Okay, so for typing, the little QuickType bar that's right above the keyboard, over time, the more you use it, it'll actually become more and more smart, depending on what you're typing. So basically, they've integrated the QuickType bar here, and they've integrated it with Siri. So it's basically going to give you Siri suggestions depending on what you're typing, and it'll basically analyze the text that you have typed and give you the corresponding next word that it thinks should be within the sentence. Next up, we've got a new Photos app. I'm not going to get into too much detail with this right now because I don't want to make this video too entirely long. But if you just jump in here, you can see there's a brief new layout of the Photos app. There's a different look to the album view. Now you have 4 tabs at the bottom. You got Photos, Memories, Shared, and Albums. And one new thing with the Photos app is the ability to view memories. Now, I don't have enough photos installed on this device to be able to have memories function correctly. But basically what this would do is it will sort your photos and videos depending on the type of memory or in the place that it was taken. Next up is a brand new Maps application. This is another one I'm not going to get into detail with because, like I said, I want to keep the video as short as possible. But if we jump into the Maps app, it has basically got a completely redesigned layout of the user interface. So when you jump in, you can see we have a new search bar down here at the bottom, and then you can slide up, and you can see all of your favorited places and your recently searched places as well. And you can drag it back down like so. Location has been moved up here, as well as the little eye next to it. When you click that, it just gives you more information. You can go search for stuff and change your map type and stuff like that. And then a neat little thing is in the bottom right hand corner, you can see the weather. So it does give you weather for your current location. So if I zoom out and say I go over to this place here, it will give you the weather. As you can see, the weather updated now at 68 degrees in that current location. So really cool little update to the Maps app. Next up is a new layout for the News application. Now, the one thing I have not actually gotten this to work, but there's supposedly a new For You tab in the News app. Also, the News application has also got a new icon, so it's slightly different than what it is in iOS 9. But if I jump in here, the For You tab actually, for me, has not been able to load Unfortunately, I've gotten the other tabs to load, such as Favorites, Explore, Search, and Saved, but as we can see, the For You does not want to load for me for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, there is a redesigned For You tab within this update. So when that gets up and running, I'll have to maybe make a separate video or something going over that. Anyway, okay, moving on. We now have a brand new, completely new Messages application. And this only corresponds to iMessage. Now, does not work with standard text messages. Be aware of that. So, this only works with iMessage between other iOS devices. But if you're doing that, you get a whole slew of new options and features within the Messages app. Again, this is way too much to go over in this one particular video, so I'll have to make another video highlighting all of the new features within the Messages application. But to give a quick rundown of what you can expect, there's of course a new layout of the user interface. The UI is totally different. As you can see, we have the little bar down here at the bottom, which is not just a search or a message field anymore. You have your typing, your microphone, camera. New thing, digital touch, like we have on the Apple Watch, is now available on the iPhone and iPod Touches, as well as iPads. And then you have App Store support, and you can click that, and you can add stickers and so on and so forth. So it's really cool. Like I said, I'll make a separate video giving more detail to this application and give you guys some really in-depth look at this. But it's a really neat update, and so far I'm really, really liking the new Messages app in iOS 10. So I can't wait to try it out when it's in the final release. Okay, moving on. There is a new and or better user interface for third-party calling applications such as Skype. So if you receive a Skype phone call or voice message, or it's not voice message, a Skype call, it will basically show up on your screen like a normal phone call. So I have a photo kind of demonstrating what that should look like. So this is the screen like that you would see on an iPhone when you receive a standard voice call. But for apps like Skype, this is what you'll see. You'll basically get the slide to answer and things like that, and you can see the person who's calling you and what app it's coming from, rather than just getting a pop-up notification telling you that you have a Skype call. So much more better looking and better user interface for that. So really, really happy that that has been implemented. Next up is a brand new standalone HomeKit application. As you can see here, there's a brand new Home app, which doesn't really function right now because this is in beta. Really, I haven't been able to get past this part here. It just says loading home, and basically that's where it stays. It just kind of gets stuck there. So you can't really do anything with the application as of now. But once the final release of iOS 10 is launched, there will be a dedicated HomeKit application, so you can control all of your wireless home devices, such as your lights, your locks, garage door openers, your blinds, shades on your windows, all those things, your thermostat, everything would be controlled directly from that one application. So really quite interesting, kind of intuitive. I don't have anything to use with that, so I couldn't actually try it out if I wanted to, but yeah, it's there if you would like it. Okay, next up, this one has to do with Siri. Siri has now better interaction with third-party apps. So basically, Apple has opened up Siri to third-party developers so they can use the Siri API within their app. So Siri then can look inside the app and give you corresponding information. So say, for example, you want to order, again, an Uber driver to come to your location. You can easily ask Siri to do that for you. So you just would ask Siri to call an Uber driver, and she would instantly do that, and you could easily see the live update of where the Uber car is at. So it'll give you a little map of a live little car driving around the streets, and you can track it to where your location is at. So really cool. Okay, moving on. 3D Touch has become much more useful on the home screen. Like I said, this is only available for devices that support 3D Touch, and the iPod Touch 6th Gen does not have that feature, so I'll just have to give you guys a photo of it. But basically, in iOS 9, when you would force press on one of the applications, you would get like a drop-down menu with a corresponding action. So like the camera, you'd press on it, and then you can select if you want to do a picture, a selfie, a video, something like that. But with iOS 10, that has gotten a little more advanced. So if we go and look at this, as you can see, when you force click on an application, such as weather in this case, you get the basic little options down here, as you can get that you had before. But now above that, you can see the widget. So when you force press on an application, you can see the corresponding widget for that app. And then there's a little button right here, as you can see, it says add widget, and basically what that would do is it would add it to your widget section on the side of your home screen. So you'd add the widget, and then it would slide over here, and you can see, and then you have have weather right there. And now, since I'm in this section again, you have the edit button down here, and you can basically edit, widgets, just like you would expect when they were in the notification center. You can arrange them, add new, you can do that, and you can see, now if we scroll down, you can see the maps nearby, and you can click it, and you can say, click that, and get nearby gas stations. So, really cool. But yeah, new 3D Touch options for the applications on the home screen. Okay, so basically last up for this particular video is Apple Pay is now available on the web. So basically what that means is you can pay for basically things that you purchase on the internet through the Safari application on your iOS device. So basically if you're at like a web page such as Amazon or eBay or some other purchasing site, maybe like Target or something like that, you can easily use Apple Pay from that web page. So you don't have to only do it within the application. And this is something that's also coming to the new version of OS 10, or Mac OS as Apple calls it now. So Mac OS Sierra has the option of Apple Pay on the web as well. So really, really neat that that's there, and that's going to be quite useful. So basically that's all of the major features and changes within the iOS 10 update. Now of course there are much more features to go over, but like I said, it's way too many to go over in this one video. So stay tuned for upcoming videos about iOS 10 and some other new features that I will be going over and going in depth with, like such as the Messages app. That will be highlighted in one of my upcoming videos. So anyway, that's basically it. Now I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of the supported devices for the iOS 10 update. So for iPhone, the supported devices are the iPhone 5, 5C, 5S, SE, 6 Plus, 6, 6S Plus, and the 6S. In terms of iPad, you have the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, the iPad Pro 9.7 inch, iPad Air 2, the iPad Air 1, iPad 4th generation, iPad Mini 2, 3, and 4. And lastly, the iPod Touches, of course, the iPod Touch 6th generation, as we have here. Now, the devices that are not supported are the iPhone 4S, the iPad 2 and 3, and the iPad Mini 1. So any of the users with those particular devices will unfortunately not get to have the iOS 10 update. But with that being said, that's basically it for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below. It's greatly appreciated. And if you guys like the video, hit the thumbs up button as well. It's greatly appreciated. And if you guys have any questions, comments, or anything like that about iOS 10 or anything like that, drop a comment below and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. So, with that being said, hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.